How's it going, everyone? Session here. Welcome. We officially have the 7.4 patch notes for Dead by Daylight. This is the PTB featuring our new friend, well, hopefully friend, Chucky. Charles Lee Ray is officially in the game for Dead by Daylight, and it's going to be pretty sweet that they actually put this into perspective. We did get a look at the trailer, kind of did of a reaction to it. It was incredible. So they are definitely going to further emphasize on the killers, the power, and everything that is to come to the PTB. So let's check it out. New killer. The good guy? That's his name? Oh, wow, that's wild. Okay. The good guy has two separate modes he can switch between. Cool. We did predict that. Normal mode and hidey ho mode. Due to his short height, the good guy also has a fixed third person camera positioned above and behind him, giving the player a better view of his surroundings. He is also much shorter than the other killers, making him very stealthy. However, he leaves fading footprints behind as he walks. Okay. I actually really appreciate that they've implied that he can be very stealthy, even though he leaves footprints behind. That's actually really cool. Okay, so press the active ability button to enter hidey ho mode for 14 seconds. While in this mode, the killer has no tear radius, and distraction footprints and audios are spawned all across the map. Oh, that's sick, actually. Okay. I kind of hope, well, I'm sure that there's gonna be add-ons and whatnot. I hope that they figure out a way to significantly increase this number. I really like that he has no tear radius and is designed to create distractions at the same time. This is actually really cool. Okay, special attack, slice, and dice. While in hidey ho mode, press and hold the special attack button to charge up a slice of this attack. When charged, sprint forward at high speed, triggering an attack at the end, or whenever the special attack button is released. Okay, so yeah, he got like a lunge somewhat. Sprint forward at high speed. Okay, I honestly like the problem with this is that he does this while he is in stealth mode. So this combination right here is going to be extremely, extremely scary. I'm looking excited. I'm really excited for that actually. And then scamper. Oh, he actually does scamper. Okay, I like use the word, but I didn't think that it. Okay, cool. I mean, I feel like I'm almost predicting a lot more than I thought. While in hidey ho mode, when you are near a vault or a pallet, press the interaction button to scamper through it quickly without breaking it. Oh yeah, so he does get to crawl under it very quickly without actually interacting with the pallet directly. Okay, he's got perks. He has a hex. Okay, two can play. Anytime you are stunned or blinded by a survivor, two times, if there is no hex totem associated with this perk, a dual totem becomes a hex totem. And then while it stands, survivors who blind, wait, I, sorry, who stun, I like combined stunned and blind. Survivors who stun or blind you get blinded for 1.5 seconds. Oh, wait, that's kind of wild actually. People who get stunned or blind get blinded? Wait, that perk is kind of crazy actually. So literally if you get stunned or blinded by a survivor, if it happens to you twice, then it activates a hex totem. And then the next time it happens and they get stunned or blinded as well. That's really dangerous actually because it's going to work incredibly well with Spirit Fury and like Lightborn and like Hubris. I can already imagine that perk being extremely good with that build in specificity. Um the craziest part too is that it's kind of a crazy counter versus flashlights. If you think about it, if you get a level 3 version of that perk, then as soon as you get stunned and then blinded, the perk activates. So then if they try and activate it again any point in time after that, then it just ends up working. That's kind of crazy actually. Okay, interesting perk. I This perk has incredible power hidden within it. So that's really cool. Friends till the end. When you hook a survivor that is not the obsession becomes exposed for 20 seconds and reveals their aura for 10 seconds. What? When you hook the obsession, another random survivor screams and reveals their position and becomes the obsession. Okay. Very, also a very good perk. I feel like any perk that is able to do like an exposed. The other thing I'm trying to think about too is that with other killers, this perk is also going to be extremely strong. So he already has two pretty good perks as a result. I think people are going to undermine the Hex perk a little bit and be very cautious about actually dealing with it because you're going to need to be very meticulous about it with flashlights, or at least like know where to like you have to like know your surroundings basically. So we'll see. And then Friends to the End is just a dangerous perk because movement killers are going to, I mean, honestly, movement killers and even stealth killers are going to really be able to like get a lot out of that. So okay. Batteries included. When within 12 meters of a completed generator, you have 5% haste. The movement speed bonus lingers for 5 seconds when you are no longer in range. Oh. Ooh, that's okay. That's also a very good perk. I think his weakest one out of the three is the Friends perk, and I think his strongest one is uh I think that no, the weakest one might be the Hex. Because it is technically a Hex, but it's still pretty good. But the batteries one is definitely his strongest one for sure. Anything with a movement speed is going to be dangerous because it literally it's permanent haste while you're near that completed generator, but you also have to be near that generator. So people are going to be able to come up with really crazy and chaotic builds with each of these perks individually and come up with crazy combinations. So not bad for perks. Right now though, what I can tell you is that his kits is up there. I like it a lot. I think it's probably going to be competing with one of my new favorite killer builds or killer just designs that you can possibly come up with. So I actually really like his power. I think it's really cool actually. Killer updates. You got the Trickster. So they did increase his movement speed from to 4.6 from 4.4. They removed recoil for throwing mines. People were talking about this a lot during the developer updates for November. So it kind of makes sense that they basically giga buffed him in a really weird sense. The thing is that he's kind of already annoying, and I think that they're going to make him actually much more obnoxious. They're going to end up changing something in this section here. So I mean, we'll see though, because the blade ready movement speed was reduced. The blade throwing speed increased. They increased the laceration meter from 6 to 8, and they also changed main event so that it lasts half as long. It requires much less blades to activate. It's kind of a rework for his main event basically, and you essentially get to be more controlling of it, but you have to be more meticulous about how to use it. So you don't just have it for a very long time after working hard to get it. You actually get it in a lot of bursts because you're supposed to, from what I feel like, is you use you build your blades to activate main event, and then when the laceration, since it's increased, you get to main event before you even injure the survivor. So I think main event is meant to be used to either fully concentrate on one person who's becoming a really big pain point for the killer, or if there's two people, then you want to try to maximize as much laceration as you possibly can. I think that's how I would personally like to use it if I was playing Trickster. Um, so we'll see. I do think right now though, Trickster is weirdly enough a very interesting killer. Like he's not terrible, but he's also not like he's not that like, not that good. Um, but I feel like whenever I go up against a trickster, if it's not a good trickster, then the match is over pretty quickly. But when it's a good trickster, the match is insanely annoying. Um, and it's almost like a scenario with like Legion or Knight. Like the match can truly end like 30 minutes in versus a good trickster, or it ends very quickly. It just kind of bounces around a lot. But these buffs are pretty strong for him all in all. So we'll see how it plays out in the PTB basically. They also changed a lot of his add-ons, so they increased like his throw speed, the duration of main events, the number of blades required to acquire main event, which is a lot because you only need to do it in 5 blades. You can even do it in 4, maybe even 3 if you combine the soda with the autograph together. So activating main event in 3 seconds with 3 blades is actually is kind of crazy actually. So we'll see. And then they gave him a new iridescent where each blade hit he gets an increased stack haste effect. up to 7%. And the bonus is lost when he's missing a blade or puts up a survivor into dying. So it's not too bad. They did nerf made for this. Basically, when you're injured and after you finish healing another survivor, you gain endurance for 10 seconds, but then you have deep wound. So it only activates while you are in deep wound versus just being injured. So people are going to most likely combine this with borrow time, base kit with the unhook scenario, or they'll deal with it with like Dead Hard. And I would even say, even for like Legion is going to have a hard time still dealing with this perk. It's only really going to be a strong counter now to Legion, just naturally speaking, but people can definitely create scenarios with survivor builds to also still make this perk be usable. It's kind of too strong of a nerf, I would say. For them to make it a deep wound effect, not that it's, deep wound isn't technically rare. It's pretty common, but even still though, um you just kind of force people to use builds for this specifically. So like it was really easy to just run made for this as like a fourth perk and then make a small build with three perks. Now you have to make a build with this perk in order for it to actually take into effect. And I'm not sure that I actually like that. They may end up having to figure out a way to um like fix this. In my personal opinion, they should have just taken out the deep one idea and then just decrease this to like 2% or something, because obviously 3% is too fast, but I mean, we'll see. And then, of course, with the map updates with Mother's Dwelling and Temple Purgation from the Red Forest, they've been reduced in size. These maps are, I think, some of the more favorited ones for survivors simply because of their size. But again, as a personal fan of DBD's survivor playstyle in terms of just the map sizes, I think it's time they look into changing how they redo maps, basically. I don't personally like that they specifically just remove assets of the maps and then just make it naturally smaller, because the thing is that the gameplay is going to be faster because the map is smaller, but you're supposed to utilize the map size as a way to give you an advantage versus the killer. And I'm not a complainer at all for the situation that it boils down to when it comes to map sizes being smaller or larger. But as a survivor player, because the map are getting smaller, it actually makes it a lot more complicated to deal with killers when the terror radius is either more prevalent, or you just feel like there's always, you have to like use your eyes a lot more often just to visually see the killer. But also that just gives the killer a lot more reason to just, versus trying to be led away from like a certain area, you have to actually like forcibly put yourself in a scenario where you either separate the generators much more so than before, um, or if you're the killer player, you just have to force a 3 gen, and then that way the game just becomes unwinnable on the survivor side. So personally speaking, for me, I think I mentioned it in the developer update, and I'm gonna just reiterate it again. They should reconsider how they make map changes. In my mind, I'd like for them to just start introducing like green and purple add-ons, where, or even do like an iridescent one for the survivors, because the fact that survivors don't have iridescent add-ons, even though like only the killer has the Mori one, which is like fine, but um, the fact that there's no, like, there should just be various level add-ons that don't necessarily, like, you have Mother's Dwelling and Temple of Purgation, but like instead of making them smaller just because they're relatively too large, just make there be a offering that just decreases the size, basically. And then for like, I would create like a medium, I would make every single map like a medium sized map, and then have there be variances of, slightly larger or slightly smaller maps. Like Dead Dog is a good example of a very small map, but if you increase, you can increase the size of the map using like this offering for the survivor side, where it's stackable across the board. It's not like a one person use kind of thing, or maybe it could be. It's up there, but if they had like a, if I knew what the percentage was in terms of how much they reduced the maps, then I would just make it be that. So like, let's say hypothetically, if Mother's Dwelling's map size is being reduced by like 25%, then there should be a purple offering that increases the map size by 25% on for the survivors. But whatever the numbers are, is split between 4 survivors. So, the math isn't going to be directly correct, but I guess it's 6.25 in order for it to, and then if four survivors bring that purple offering, then the whole entire map just increases naturally by 25%. And then I would say for the killer side, just do the same thing, but it decreases, right? So it decreases the map by that X amount. Um, that way there is a much more logical sense of the balance. Because I personally don't like, as a survivor player myself, I don't like bringing map offerings. I think that there's a bit of this that's kind of like pointless to bring. I would take significantly more advantage of bringing map offerings that increase or decrease the size of the map, whether I'm playing killer or survivor. But even if I play killer, I don't bring offerings that are for specific map purposes. Um, I just don't really feel like I gain. I mean, there is a gain to it. Don't get me wrong. Like smart players know which maps are good to use versus killers naturally and versus survivors for sure. But as a player myself who is oblivious to it, I don't really think I like the map offering system. I haven't liked it for a very long time because I just strictly don't use map offerings ever. The only time that I ever used a map offering was when the RPD map came out, and it's just because I love Resident Evil and I wanted to see the map basically as often as I tried to. But then, once I got my good taste of it, then I just stopped using those offerings, and now I just have 100 of every map offering for almost every character simply just because. So either way, that being said though, so yeah, they're making the maps smaller for Mother Dwelling and Temple of Purgation, so it helps both roles enjoy a play area that is consistent with the other maps. And then they're making adjustments to the Red Forest realm, and they also did a gameplay pass on the tiles to improve navigation and the readability of the map. Garden of Joy also benefit from gameplay pass. The house has been revisited to find a better combination of obstacles and reduce the strength of some of the windows. A pass on the tiles has also been done since visibility, making it hard for players to enjoy a better navigation in the map and bring the focus on the chase, loot, and all interactions. The Killer Shack was also very crowded around the walls and made the collisions known through all the realms hard to run consistently, and they cleared the area. So, there's that. Graphic updates. They added support for FSR 1.0 on all platforms. That's cool. They're also introducing player cards. So now you can find your level and grades on a new screen, and you can select like a badge and the whole banner thing and the profile photo. It's all the really cool stuff. So that's kind of nice. And then we have ourselves various bot audio, character, and map fixes across the board, which is cool. Um, and perks. So I believe that's going to be it for the most part. Let me just kind of quickly kill switch cosmetics can be brought into a trial. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right. Yeah, that's all. So the good guy overall, this update looks so sick, dude. I'm honestly really excited for the killer. The killer coming into the game is definitely the biggest W to this entire patch and the PTB for sure. Now, don't get me wrong, like the xenomorph was a phenomenal inclusion to the game. But the fact that they were able to just make Chucky come to life in this game is incredibly fascinating. So I really do hope that they figure out a way to make this work out truly. Because I think that he has extremely good capability of being a very scary and just a really creepy killer, basically. I already get that feeling going up against like Xenomorph, and then when Myers is creeping around, I don't get it as much from Ghostface and Pig when they're crouching around being sneaky, but the fact that he's actually just naturally small and has a way to decrease his terror radius is really really incredible. So I'm really looking forward to this killer like a lot. So there you have it. Hope you guys enjoy. Look forward to the PTB. I'm definitely gonna check it out 100%, and we will find out how Chucky is. So thank you all for watching. Take care.